Hi everybody, today I'm going to introduce you guys to Miss Janet, and she's going to share her story with you along with why she has all these fantastic pictures.
Oh, my story is a long story. It's very long, it's very deep, but it definitely has a thread, and that common thread in my story is the Appalachian Trail, and has been for many years, since I was a teenager. But more than the trail itself, it's the people who come to hike the trail that are part of my family and have become so important to me over the years and decades. And now I'm on my third generation in some families of thru hikers in that one particular family. And even like running into the gentleman here who has many members of his family that have hiked. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when they hiked. It was 20 years ago. It's kind of amazing how important people doing nothing but walking in the woods can become to each other. And because they become important to each other, and they become exceptionally important to me, but being able to be the unofficial photographic curator of all things Appalachian Trail Community, because I'm not a hiker. I've done very less than one. I did one 400-mile hike and a couple of 20-mile hikes, and I'm not a hiker. I enjoy the trail. I enjoy camping. I enjoy living in the woods, but I don't walk the trail. So I don't tell anybody how to walk the trail, and I certainly am not out there to document someone walking the trail. But I love documenting the people and their adventures when they're not
So this
hiking.
is your joy about the trail then?
The joy for me with this trail is knowing and looking at individuals and knowing what this trail is going to mean to them in their lives, because I'm looking at pictures 25 years ago and 30 years ago and 40, people that hiked. I was looking, I've got a picture of Earl Schaefer on the other side there. At the point that I met these people, maybe we call the Appalachian Trail the trauma trail. And starting with Earl Schaefer, who came to walk off the war, the vast majority of people who come to the Appalachian Trail are damaged in some way. They are hurting. They are at a transition. It is between jobs, between careers, between relationships, between phases of their life, the end of one thing and the beginning of something else, and they don't always know what that something else is going to be. So that opportunity presents itself. So even if they have known, I'd like to hike the Appalachian Trail someday, that opportunity is usually presented by some transition in their life. And transition for most of us is difficult. Many times it is traumatic, and many times it's a traumatic situation that created that opportunity to take 6 months to go take a long walk on the Appalachian Trail.
So you took all of these pictures?
These are all my photographs, and this is only 350 of close to 4 terabyte of pictures. I pulled these together for a project a couple of weeks ago in a hurry. I needed, in a hurry, to pull a storytelling thing together, because what I wanted to do was just put them out there and then ask you, pick one and let me tell you a story about it. And people would just walk up and go, well, this is an interesting looking dude. What's the story there? And I could spend another month and probably write 3 books on that one gentleman and his Appalachian Trail experiences, the people he's touched in the community, and that is Baltimore Jack, and he's been gone. We lost him almost 10 years ago. He was one of the first people to thru hike the trail more than twice, more than 3 times. He did the trail 6 times as full thru hikes, and another couple of times that he did enough of the miles to do another 2 completions of the Appalachian Trail.
So how long have you been doing this?
I was 17 years old the first time I had hikers in my car and drove them to the grocery store and to the laundromat and then to a party where they gave me a beer when I was 17. Of course, my father thought I was studying at Karen's house. You're studying at Karen's house, right? Yep, I'm studying at Karen's house. I was 17 years old, and I am now 61 years old.
Wow. Okay. So is that kind of what you think started your journey down the trail?
I blame my mother a lot because some of the people on some of these pictures, my mother knew before I did. And because we lived close to a trailhead, we would come home from school and there would be external frame packs and big sticks and boots. But they were always those big, heavy leather boots with red laces, and because you weren't a real thru hiker if you didn't have red laces in your boots. You know that was the uniform of the day. Today now it's do you have the new town shirt or the new jolly or the new whatever? But no, it was red laces in your boots, and she would be filling up their water bottles or making them peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or just talking a little bit about their adventures. They saw a bear up on Beauty Spot, you got to be careful next time you're up there, and just the little stories. So as a child they got my attention, but I certainly still didn't, the idea and the scope of the entire trail, it never really, it was just part of my life because of my mother. And then I did the grow up, get married, have 3 kids, get divorced, and come back home. And almost immediately, one of the first things that I realized coming back into Erwin, Tennessee was, wow, there's more hikers than there ever were before. I'm seeing, instead of just seeing a few occasionally, I'm seeing hikers almost every day. So I started giving them rides to town. I started giving them rides to the grocery store. I started hanging out with hikers on the weekends when my children were with their father. And it was the people. It was the individuals. It was the gentleman who's telling me I'm out here. My last drink was on the bus coming to Springer Mountain. That was my last drink. That will be my last drink. I will never drink again. And I figured that the trail was going to be the best place to get sober. And I'm out here trying to save my life. And 25 years later, he still has never taken another drink. And he has thru-hiked the AT multiple times. He's a triple crowner. He's done all 3 long trails at least once. And he is an advocate for people coming to the trail to save themselves.
Fantastic. So Tennessee's your home base?
Tennessee's my home base. I had a hostel there I ended up, realizing that, wow, these people need somewhere to stay and they need breakfast, and I'm a good cook. So I did a bed and breakfast. At the time it was very unusual because it's like, she's gonna have real sheets. You don't have real sheets with hikers. You just have a platform and they go sleep on that platform with their, and that's what you do. And I'm like, no, I want to do like Elmer's. He has a very nice bed and breakfast that is very shabby chic. And it was very, lots of the things that I loved were in his home, and his big Victorian home in Hot Springs. And he had quite an influence on me. I said, I definitely want to do like a bunk and breakfast. I want to have hikers, but I want to treat them to breakfast in a sit-down family style moment, like kind of what we've been having here today. And I want to take care of them and help them along their way and help them on this journey. And it has definitely was a definitive decision in my life to make that decision to do that and raise my children in a hiker hostel.
Awesome.
With 20, 30 people in and out of their lives every day from all over the planet.
Okay,
so my daughters have friends on every continent.
That's fantastic.
That's
what
awesome.
an opportunity you have provided for them as well.
And something that, we were talking earlier about, people that these little small communities that the trail goes through, they don't know who hikers are. They see them, but they haven't really had any reason or curiosity to find out what they're doing and why. And when you start talking to them, and oh no, I don't speak English. I'm from France. I speak very little English. Oh, you're from France? And you're hiking the trail, those are the kinds of things that I think people would be real surprised are who are the people out here, who are the ones hiking, why are they hiking the trail. A few, it's just a physical accomplishment. They made a bucket list and they're just going to mark things off that bucket list until they're finished. even most of them are going to find something special about the trail, especially the Appalachian Trail. Other long trails just don't have the same kind of community. You're more remote, you're not going into town as often. You're usually in smaller groups or more solo opportunity than you are on the Appalachian Trail. It's the Appalachian National Scenic Highway. Sometimes there's a lot of people out there, and not just long distance hikers. This year we may have 4,000 people that are attempting to do the entire trail. On any given day this summer, there will be 4,000 people hiking in the White Mountains on one day. So long distance hikers are a small minority of the people that come out to hike the trail in any flavor.
Well, I have a question about the
Yes.
van. What made you decide to go mobile with it?
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
So see, my very, 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 very first van was just an absolute necessity. I needed a troop carrier. I needed a way to get 10 people to the grocery store and to the laundromat and back to the trailhead and get them back in. So this is the 6th van.
Oh, wow.
Sixth van, and I have close to 1 million miles on 6 vans.
Wow.
And so this one is called the Bounce Box, because if you need something on the trail but you don't want to carry it every day, you generally put it in a box and mail it ahead to yourself. So medications and toiletries and things that you might want, a new pair of socks or something, you just sent it ahead, and then when you got there you picked it up, and we called those bounce boxes, and I just carried everything that you would need in your bounce box. And it's like, hey, can I get to my box under your bunk, because that's where they had put their bounce box.
Right.
So the van ended up being the bounce box. And it looks the way it does because it's scientifically proven that if you're smiling, your pack weighs 5 pounds less.
Okay.
And you're looking at that going, what in the heck is this? You're smiling whether you think it's ridiculous or not. So one of my ex-boyfriends actually called it the ridiculous van. Or are we taking the ridiculous van? It's even got an ooga horn,
Awesome.
but it's got a puppy.
Okay.
It's got candy. It's got, I'm your mom's worst nightmare. And you still get in the van with me and you just go.
So where are you headed next?
I'm headed to New Hampshire.
Awesome.
I've been helping at a hostel up there for about 20 years. And I'm going to go up and work with them for a couple of months and hopefully get to see a lot of the people I met in Georgia and North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia when they start finishing the trail.
Fantastic.
Coming to the end this year. So.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank
it.
you for asking, and I want to know more about your story, so I hope you'll give me a link to your YouTube.
Sounds good.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Janet.